Today we're introducing the refrigerator sealed system repair diagnostic jig. We'll start off by showing you what comes in the box. And the first thing you should have is a jig just like you see in my hand right now. There should also be two harnesses. This harness will connect the jig to the compressor, and this is a power cord for the jig to work. Now we'll show you how to actually use the jig, and there are instructions on top. So it says start by looking at your main PCB to see if there's any blink codes. Then you're going to unplug the refrigerator from the wall. Then you're going to disconnect the harness that's currently on the compressor, and we're going to plug this jig into the compressor. Then we'll turn the refrigerator and the jig both on. We'll check the display of the jig to see the status, and then it'll tell us one of these symptoms that you see here. One of these fault types will come up for us. Then we'll turn the refrigerator and the jig off, and we'll disconnect the jig from the unit. We'll show you how to do that now. So first I want to show you how to connect your harness to the jig. If you look real close, there's a tab inside at the 12 o'clock position, and on your harness there is a gap. You want to line that gap up with that tab, and then you'll screw it down until it's secure. And now you're ready to hook your jig to your compressor. So before disconnecting any harnesses, make sure and unplug the refrigerator from the wall or kill the breaker, disconnect power to the unit. Next, you're going to want to unplug the original compressor harness like you see here. This is our original harness and OLP. And then you're going to plug your jig in where the original harness was before. So now that we have our jig connected to our compressor, we're going to go ahead and we're going to power our refrigerator back on. I just reapplied power, and we're going to power on the jig. Now look at the jig screen. It tells you it's for an FLD 165. You want to look at your label on your compressor. Make sure you have an FLD 165. Right now, that's the only compressor that the jig can be used on. And then look back at your jig screen. It automatically went in and started running the compressor without me hitting any extra buttons. Our condenser fan is now running, and on the screen it has a timer. It's at about 30 seconds right now, and the test can vary based on what's wrong with the seal system. Sometimes it may run 6 minutes, sometimes it may run 12 minutes. So we're going to let this one run, and we'll come back and we'll show you the results. So the test ran for 12 minutes and 1 second, and it came up on the screen and gave us an NR code, which means normal. Then that is correct. This unit is cooling fine, and this compressor is functioning normally. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier, while it's running the test, don't open any doors, don't alter the unit in any way other than disconnecting that factory compressor harness like we did to hook the jig up. Let the unit run, let the fans run like it normally would. Another thing I want to point out at the board is we now have a 3 blink code. That was not there at the beginning. That came up after the unit had been running for about a minute. That's simply doing that because we disconnected the factory harness. So don't worry about that. Disregard that as an error code if it wasn't there when you first arrived to the home. So what we're going to do next, we're going to put some faults in the system, and we're going to see what the jig tells us then. We input a fault to mimic a low side leak, and as you can see on the screen, that's the error code that it gave us. It's got an LL for low side leak. It ran for 3 minutes and 26 seconds this time, and what it did, it sensed that high current draw that a low side leak creates, and that's why it was able to run a shorter test and give us that answer. This time we put in a fault to mimic a high side leak. So it comes up and says LH on the screen for leakage high. It ran for almost 3 minutes that time. It was able to see that it wasn't building any current. It wasn't building any pressure. So it reads that as a high side leak. Now, one thing I want to mention, if in the case that you get a compressor fault meaning inefficient compressor. Go ahead and check that seal system out thoroughly. Check for leaks and do your due diligence in checking for other issues that could have taken that compressor out. So we hope this video helped you. We hope this jig is helpful in diagnosis, and we hope it helps with your seal system repairs. Thank you for watching today.